Yes, hello, this is Richard. I'm making this quick video for my friend Bill, but of course it can be used for all of those Inkway people, those people who have been founders in the Inkway business. Okay, my friend Bill had a problem. What he was saying is that he had a HP cartridge which he refilled and it was not printing. Okay, so what I am suggesting here is that, okay, I have a sample of my refill. This is a number 22 cartridge HP. Okay, and a quick word about the 22 cartridge. Like most of them, okay, if we look at the shape of the cartridge, there is inside the cartridge a partition that runs about the center here. The partition, what that does actually is blocks off the rear of the cartridge from the front. So when you fill, all you will be doing is filling this front part. This was done by the manufacturers to limit the amount of ink that this particular cartridge takes. Okay, there are like number 22H or HD, something like that, which holds more ink. Obviously that would be the one without the partition in the center. Okay, at the top of the cartridge there are weep holes. Okay, there are 5 holes to the top of the cartridge, and the electronic strip to the front, and the printing heads to the bottom. Alright, it's like a couple of very thin metal plates to the bottom there. That's where the ink comes out when the printer is in operation. Alright, now back to the problem at hand. The ink cartridge is not printing. There could be 2 basic causes for that ink not printing. Number 1, the copper plate that the manufacturers have put in as a fail-safe to their inking system here, so that when you print all of the ink out, when you use all of the ink out, it burns, and when it burns it renders this useless, which means you have to go find yourself another $25 or so to buy another one. Okay, in Trinidad and Tobago where I am, that's about $150 TT, a lot of money. Okay, so the idea is never to let your ink run all the way down before refilling it. Okay, you can do it by weight. You get yourself one of your new cartridges and you feel the weight of it, and you know definitely that they don't fill it all the way up. Okay, so you feel the weight of it and you get yourself one that is almost empty and you feel the weight of that. So you can sort of average with your hand. If you have a scale that can measure very light weights like this, and the differences in the weight, that might be able to help you to know, yes, this needs refilling, this one is good, etc., etc. Alright, so that could be one of the problems. The copper plate has completely burnt away, so that means it's no longer workable. The other one is very simple, and that would mean that the printing plates to the bottom here are clogged. Very, very simple to test to see if that is the case. All you need to do is get yourself a wet wipe and you pass it on that plate from back to front in that sort of motion. Now what will happen is, if there is a flow of ink, you will get a thick black line. If you're using the black, of course, you'll get a thick black line showing that ink is flowing, which means if there is ink in it and ink is flowing and the printer is not recognizing the cartridge, that could be yet another problem. Okay, so it could either be that the cartridge itself has been already spent, or your printer may just simply need to be reset to accept it. Alright, from 2 problems to 2 problems. Okay, so we pass the ink cartridge print head over the wet wipe and we look at the result. If we get a thick black line, that means we have ink flow. If we get a thin black line or no line whatsoever, that means that the print head is clogged. Alright, and if it's the case that the print head is clogged alone, that means that there's that possibility, that 50-50 chance that you can get this thing back in operation. But it takes some courage to do what I am about to show you. Okay, and I think I'll be working on a simpler way of doing what I'm about to do, so that you won't get as grossed out as some people do. All right. Now, what is required? You get a clean wet wipe, and you wipe the top of the cartridge, obviously taking off the label that is usually there blocking the holes. You take off that label, you wipe the cartridge clean of any dried ink, and you cover this whole top with your mouth. Yes, I said you cover the top of it with your mouth. Not letting any air leak out, you blow gently onto another wet wipe or a dry piece of tissue paper. So you cover it and you blow. Now when you blow, the ink should be pushed or forced past whatever blockage is there. Okay? If it doesn't happen on the first try, please do try it again, blow a little harder. Alright? It may sound strange, it may sound weird, but as I said, I have been doing ink refilling for the past few years, and this is what I do on a daily basis. Because one of these, as I said, costs about 25 US, about 150 TT average. Works with my printer, and it's black, so I do a lot of photocopying also. So I usually, on a very busy day, will run through about 5 or 6 of these. So multiply that, 25 by 6, that's 150 US dollars. I can't afford to spend 150 US dollars per day. Okay? So refilling with the Inkway system saves me money. Okay? Not only that, the Inkway system offers me an opportunity to make money by refilling other people's systems, as well as by selling systems to other people. Okay? So it's a fantastic system. So if there's no ink coming out of your cartridge, it is not the system. The system is there to do what it's supposed to do. The problem is the cartridge. It's not the system. Okay? So when you get that that blockage free, you wipe it clean with your wet wipe, and you put it back into your printer. All right? But you need to take your printer off before you do. Take off your printer, put it back into your printer, and give it a 5 minutes or so, and restart your printer. Once everything is well with your cartridge, your printer will start up as normal. It may give you a notice that your ink is low. Okay? That is just one of the fail-safes that the manufacturer has put into the programming for the printer itself. Your cartridge will be full of ink, but it will remain saying low. So ignore that. Your ink is filled. Alright? If perchance it says that it is not filled, or no, it says that it is not recognizing your ink cartridge, the problem then would be the ink cartridge, the copper strip has been spent, rendering the cartridge useless. You need to change your cartridge. Okay? That is the problem. And when you do change your cartridge for a new cartridge, that might be the last cartridge that you buy for a very long time. Alright? So bear these things in mind. It is not the system, it is the cartridge. Alright, so I hope this answers the question. Oh yes, of course, if you do fill your ink, as I have here, if you do fill your ink and you see it sweeping out to the bottom like that, what you may need to do is to put it onto a dried piece of tissue so that the excessive ink can stabilize itself. Okay, that's one way of doing it. What I do, I simply siphon some of the ink back out of the cartridge so that it doesn't waste onto the tissue. Okay, so here's where you have to start to average yourself so that you don't overflow the ink and end up losing on wastage of ink. Alright, well, I have this is the beginning of my day. I have filled my cartridges for the day, and I'm going to replace this back into my printer. And if I can take the camera, I'm going to place it back into the printer. Okay, wrong side. Alright, so I've replaced the ink back into the printer. Of course, you will, once you realize that it's working properly, please replace the label. Well, my label has been spent a while back, so what I use some masking tape over the weep holes and place them back into the printer. Okay, and I turn on the printer. I turn on the printer, and lo, if you can see there, it doesn't show that it's a unrecognizable cartridge, anyone, black or the color ones. So I'm ready to print again. Alright, so I hope that this tutorial helps my friend Bill and all the other people who have been having similar problems with their inking systems and their inking cartridges and their HP printers. And I wish you all the best. If there's any problems and I can help, please feel free to drop me a line through the Inkway Skype room, or send me an email, or check me on Facebook. Richard John is my name, and I'm here to help.